Let's in fact get in a check on all of this with Peter McGuire, Chief Executive Officer with XM Australia. Peter, hi. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. Let's start off with the broad sense that you are getting on what triggered this fall in commodity prices, not just overnight, but for the most part of last week.
Well, good morning. A couple of things. First off, we've had that, I think the anticipation where the NFP was going to be as far as Friday evening on that non-farm payroll. I think in a lot of ways it overwhelmed 940,000 jobs. The second part is you've seen the inflation story. And thirdly, and more importantly, is that strength as far as US dollar. So when you roll all of that together, I think that was really the undercurrent that was a little bit of a sell-off as far as many of those commodities and certainly strengthening US dollar.
Peter, we've already seen month to date quite a bit of fall play out, and this is not just for crude or gold, but the entire commodity basket.
Yes.
How much more pain could we actually see from the top?
We've got to understand that you've got this coronavirus or the Delta variant, which seems to be impacting, and what I'm reading across most headlines across the globe is that it's really starting to cause major concern across China. We understand those numbers seem to be climbing across the US, and there's nearly 2 billion people, and then all of that demand destruction and I think uncertainty. So are we headed for another round of lockdowns? Are we headed for another round of uncertainty with global markets? And all that puts a level of fear across many of those commodity sectors. So demand destruction, stronger US dollar, inflation, and of course what happens as far as taper talks with the Fed, and you've got the infrastructure bill, and don't forget the debt ceiling. So there's a few global themes that need to be appreciated and understood.
Peter, if we do really look at this entire downtick in commodities, especially crude and metals, from the point of view that, okay, we have the Delta variant that's emerging as a concern, especially in Asia, why is it that gold continues to stay subdued then?
That's a good point, and I think it's a very good point. Two things. First off, you've seen that stronger US dollar through 93, and I think I haven't looked in the last couple of minutes, but I had a look 5 minutes ago, it was 93.02. So that US dollar uptick. Second point is, I think that there was a lot of margin trading, naturally, with futures markets, and probably people were smashed down. That spot market yesterday morning, our time, about 4 o'clock in the morning, Monday morning, Mumbai time, it really had a big sell-off on that spot market. It just spanked down. And so in turn, that creates, first off, uneasiness. Secondly, margin calls. And thirdly, that really wraps around a lot of other short sellers. So if you were long and all of a sudden you've got a margin call in one of your commodities or something that you're trading, naturally you've got to liquidate positions, and that is also a concern from day traders and from the general retail sector.